Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another match of the Zelda 2 Max Rando Tournament Swiss Round 2. We have Big Slamu versus Cynas. I hope I'm not butchering his name. On commentary today, we will have the magnificent Elendar and the magnificent Mirai with an awesome cheeseburger party tracking today. So take it away, you two.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mirai, and I'm joined by Elendar here. Both of us apparently magnificent today, and CBP, Miss Cheeseburger Party, on tracking as well. Not only awesome, but quite delicious. Elendar, how are we doing tonight?
Ordinarily hungry, but little overstuffed from my dinner. So just enjoying a nice, fine evening. Excited for what should be a good race.
Yes, hopefully so. I hear we'll see more when we get in there. You people in the audience can see that we've got some of the tracker stuff lit up there. It always makes me think of like Wheel of Fortune, and then Cheeseburger Party's in the background. She's like Vanna White, who has to like touch the things and light it up and flip it over. And so you can see we have the candle, the raft, and the flute to start in this one. We got X amount of heart containers, of course. We have at least one heart container, if not more, and we have at least. Well, we might have 0 gems to place. We know the answers to that, but we'll see that shortly in the stream. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty calm set of items. Some little bit of tools to help get around. Candle's going to make the early caves in the west, not quite so painful. I think both these runners are very capable of handling themselves in the dark, but being able to see the enemies is just nicer for the runners and I think our viewers as well.
Yeah, that's very true. The candle is very helpful depending on what you start with, especially in like the lower heart container starts and everything that are just very punishing. The candle is very, very aware. Being very, very good for that. Sorry, I'm trying to split my attention between a few things here. We'll focus on the race here.
Yeah, we should be starting up in just a few minutes, handling just some last minute issues, I assume. But
Yep, just waiting for the runners to ready up, and then we should get this show on the road.
Yeah, so this is, I believe, this is an 0-1 race?
Yes. Willard did take out Big Slamu. That was an interesting race. There was no restream on that, but they did still stream their gameplay, so you were able to watch it side by side if you wanted to, and we did in the Z2R Discord. And watching that live, that was an interesting race. It was pretty close. It was in and out of GP. It was a low gem seed, and both of them had gone in GP and then stepped out to get some more resources and then went back in. Willard happened to be the first one back into GP in that previous race with Big Slamu, and he did find Dark Link. It was kind of a tough room or two there that was kind of blocking them and stuffing them up early on in the GP, and Willard made it through, and he made it to Dark Link, and that was the end of that. When it came to Cynas, it was Cynas versus Trails, and that was, I believe, the very first match, kicking it off in the afternoon last week. And Cynas being, I believe, a very new runner to Z2R here, going up against perhaps one of the best runners in Z2R currently. He did take a loss to Trails at that point, but he didn't do too bad. And in the post-race interview, he did say that he felt he did pretty good. I thought he did pretty good. I was doing commentary on that one, watching that one. And then he did say that he enjoyed it very much. So as a new runner, that's always nice to hear from new runners, that they are enjoying, even getting beat up, they're enjoying, they're still enjoying it.
And our runners are off. So 3, 2, 1, and here we go.
And it's going to be a 6-gemmer, so no quick seeds this time. We're going to have to clear out all the palaces here on Vanilla Shuffle West. Oof.
We're seeing a lot of this continent lately.
Yeah, I think it's only like 1 in 5 or 1 in 6 with the biome rolls,
yeah.
but Max Rando does what Max Rando wants. I think we're going to see pretty quickly. Yeah, he spawned all the way on the left side of this forest, so that means that the tiles are actual transits. You do have to walk from one end to another, at least for some basic stuff like bridges in these forests. Looks like Cynas made it through the back way, and it's led to the north end of the west and a 500-point bag.
Yeah, coming back to the encounter that Big Slam is in right now, I always found this interesting because that's the Lost Woods. That's one of the several Lost Woods and tile encounters that you'll find in vanilla in the cluster there next to Bagoo. And those always, when you get into them in the vanilla game or even outside of a vanilla shuffled map, you get into them in the middle. But when it comes to a vanilla shuffled map, if they're used as a pass-through, you do have to go from one side to the other. You can fairy feet through there if you know the trick and you have the spell. But it is interesting that you actually have to pass through the entire encounter like that. I always thought that was very interesting from the randomizer perspective in this particular biome.
Yeah, it always leads to that spot in particular could lead to some interesting scenarios as Cynas picks up a magic container here in Trophy Cave. Big Slamu pretty shortly going to have something out of this Piag Cave, but takes another stab to the knees.
Yeah, so as you said, Cynas is in one of the northern sections of the west here, and then Big Slamu's over in the southeastern section where the graveyard is, and Vanilla Meadow would be. We'll have yet to see if there's any towns over on his side, but two different kind of immediate diversions at this point.
Yeah, it looks like also Slamu showing us, Cynas with a hint, glove is in the west, and apparently so are the boots, so seed kind of blowing itself open nice and early.
Bunch of fashionable items for these two runners to equip themselves with here in the West before heading anywhere else. And might be good. Those boots might be good. Right here in the West, though, they're actually not good at all. They're not going to help Big Slammer or either one of our runners here in the West. The vanilla continents, so even when they're shuffled, the rules for the water, whether it's walkable or not, holds true to what the vanilla rules are. So the randomizer does not override that. With the boots, we will not be able to walk on any of the water on the West since it is not walkable in the vanilla game.
Yeah, which is a shame because it's just a little bit of a walk over to that place where Vanilla 3 usually is. But this is the big property of Vanilla West is it's very, very segmented.
Yeah, that's my complaint about playing the vanilla shuffled maps is that they're just very segmented and restricted. And especially in the West, if you don't have the hammer, those boulder blocks are always present on the road to separate the three larger sections of the West here. And we don't have the hammer. So if our runners can't find easy ways to get around, then they're going to be taking the long path each and every time they come through here until they have that hammer.
Cynas found Palace 5 and pretty reasonably immediately turns around. Big Slamu finding our second Palace over here. And it's 3 or 6.
We've got Jump and Saria. Did Cynas go in to get Jump? Did they start with Jump? Did I miss that?
I don't think they started out. I know he went in. I'm pretty sure that he did end up picking up Jump out of there, but neither of our runners have found Bagoo yet. So that's another thing you always have to keep in mind on Vanilla Shuffle West is that, even when it doesn't look like it, Saria is absolutely a pass-through. Oh,
yeah. That's we did commentary in the last race where we had an interesting pass-through, but an unfortunate turn of events for one of the runners. The infamous bridge connector tile, the double bridge tile. I don't even know how to describe it, but regardless, I'm not sure if we'll see that come into play in this particular seed. Probably not, as we had talked about in the previous race. It's a pretty rare occurrence that it happens. It just so happened to happen in that race, and one of the runners not entirely familiar with that mechanic of that particular bridge, so did get caught off guard by it, and unfortunately cost him the race.
Yeah, we've already seen access to the two of the larger segments being the north and the southeast. If we could find a way down to the southwest, that covers about 90% of the available spots on the west.
Yeah, and then hopefully you don't have something hiding in that nook in the upper right corner, the northeast corner there by Parappa Desert. Hopefully there's nothing too important up there if it's difficult to get to. Sometimes you'll have two pass-through caves that are chained together to reach certain places. It can be kind of frustrating navigating these vanilla shuffled maps for sure.
Cynas finding also 500-point PX in the large enemy drop pool, so a pretty friendly seed for experience.
Yeah, very nice. And with neither of runners being like top tier pro ultra runners here, this is going to be very nice and forgiving for them. Even the 6 gems, while it's going to be a bit of a longer seed, that's going to guarantee them the 6 gem placements, 6 free levels, regardless of whatever experience they have when they place it, they do get the free level. So 5 heart containers, candle, 500 point P bags. I don't know if they started with downstab, but Cynas does have it. And so easy access to a lot of things here on the West. And on top of that, that 6 gem clear. So they should be well equipped when they reach Great Palace.
Yeah, they did start with downstab, and both our runners just sort of reversing each other's tracks, picking up the items the other one didn't.
Yeah, Big Slamu with what that sprite is the Dragon Lord sprite. And if he ever gets the shield spell, again, I didn't catch what spells they started with, but if he gets the shield spell and he uses it, I do believe if he's using a particular color, which is yellow, it looks like he's in a Snuggie. Just keep that in mind.
I look forward to seeing that. So both of runners have covered most of the available spots at this point, but haven't found any connections further forward to something else.
Yeah, with the vanilla continent like this, I do believe the vanilla rules are absolutely in place. So we're going to have 2 connector caves as well as a raft tile here on the west. And so this could be our main hub. In vanilla, those 2 connector caves would take you to Death Mountain. That doesn't have to be true here in the randomizer. They could take you, it could be raft to Death Mountain and one of those caves to Death Mountain and then the other cave to the east. It's just that we are guaranteed to have those 3 continent connectors here on the west somewhere.
Yeah, Cynas taking a dig into this palace. I believe this is 3 or 6, and not going to be able to make too much progress without the fairy spell or any keys. I don't think we've seen keys anywhere in the drop pool, have we?
I have not noticed any. If there are any that have snuck by, then or sneaked by, Chad will let us know for sure.
Cynas taking a little bounce on a bubble there, but 70 points, pretty decent experience.
Yeah, the only redeeming factor here might be that if bosses are randomized to be dropping their vanilla keys, then if he does find the boss and he's able to take it out and the boss drops the key, then he'll be able to get through the door. Otherwise, he'll have to double dip this palace. So it's relying on that boss to drop the key when it can drop any number of items, blue jar, red jar, 1-up, P bag of numerous denominations, or the key. You know, it's kind of a gamble that the key is going to be the thing. Oh, there we go. Speaking of keys in the drop pool, so there was a key in the drop pool. He's a little better off, but he's going to burn it. Does he want to burn it? That's the choice that you need to make. He's going to go left instead and save that key.
Yeah, it's always a bit of a gamble heading into these palaces early on without any keys or fairy spell. You know, the logic never requires it, but definitely if you can pick up a few keys, it could be a good time saver if luck favors you.
Yeah, this is an elevator room that Cynas is in. So this, we tend to favor elevator rooms. You tend to see bosses attached to elevators just as often, if not more often, than your standard left to right transitioning through rooms. So whenever you see an elevator room, it's usually quite a tasty room, and you should probably dig into that elevator to see exactly what is at the bottom or the top of that thing. And that's like the new thing with the 4.0 randomizer. New, I say it came out last year, but is that boss rooms attached to elevators as well. And so elevators are equally important to just moving left to right.
Yeah, and Slamu is, he has found the double bridge, and he's crossing it.
Interesting. I don't remember if there's another double bridge that actually exists in a single tile setup. I'm so rusty with vanilla bridge knowledge that you usually don't have to rely on them except in maps like this.
Yeah, well, it looks like it was the right choice because Slim has found his way over to the southwest.
Yeah, very nice. He's going to find the rest of these item caves that we're missing here. Medicine Cave, Heart Container Cave, Magic Container Cave, somewhere around here. And if not, they will be up in the Parappa Desert area, Vanilla P1 area.
Yeah, this southwest area, especially here in Bagu's Woods, is it's just so dense on checks because usually Bagu's Woods is just a landmine of encounters, but here it's just a big pile of value with at the very least Heart Container Cave going to yield an item.
So Cynas, saving that key, does find Barba here. If he can take out Barba, he's going to get through the door, regardless of whatever the boss ends up dropping.
Yeah, taking his time, using pretty safe stats, getting 2 or 3 stabs per cycle, but definitely better safe than taking a lava bath on Barba, because it could be a long trip back if he takes the game over. I don't know quite how many lives he has left.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about jump on Barba. If you're not going to do a jackhammer strat, what is your opinion on using jump on Barba here?
I like using jump even if you're not using jackhammer. There are a couple of strategies that you can use that let you get a little bit of extra damage in, but it's one of those things that's mostly personal preference. It's not substantially faster one way or the other. One big thing about having the jump spell, though, is if you are taking those high jumps and you do take a fireball, there's a little bit of down stab action.
Yeah, that fireball almost took him out there at life 5. I was also going to talk about having attack 3. This might take a moment for Cynas to take him out if he can't get a bunch of hits in every cycle. If he's getting like 2 or 3 hits in every cycle, this could take... I don't know the vanilla count, and we don't exactly know the strength of attack 3. It's going to be its strength is going to be randomized along with the other stats as well. So if it's somewhere around attack 2 to 4, this could be like 48 hits or more, something in that area. So he needs the staying power here, the stamina to take out Barba and just keep whittling down his health and not try anything too fancy. I don't know if another jackhammer attempt is worth it or not. I'd probably just play it safe.
Yeah, and that looks like what he's doing, just stay alive, get the kill. Looks like he's got about halfway, so yeah, probably at least another 20 or 30 stabs, it's looking like.
Yeah, we don't know if Barba actually rolled high on health. That can be a thing that the randomizer does. It's I don't exactly know. It's either plus or minus 50% of the health, if I'm not mistaken, something in there. And so what can happen is that the health of the boss can actually be larger than what the health bar displays. So it can be a little deceptive at times, depending on how many hits it takes to take out that first bar. It may not be indicative of what the rest of the bars require for you to hit in order to take them out. But regardless, starting at least full health, Barba probably is going to take a solid amount of hits here as we're seeing.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Slimu's been clearing out all of these caves that we expected, finding the hammer and the prophesied glove. And that's Death Mountain, and it's vanilla.
Yeah, I wonder if we can access the backside. If we can get to the backside really, really easily. That's only one cave that you're required to go through before you can reach both Hammer Cave and Speck Rock. Look at that hidden grass tile there, right sitting where the vanilla exit to jump cave is. Wow.
Yes, Big Slamu knows his vanilla layout and notices that that's not supposed to be a grass tile.
Yeah.
But it's definitely possible that that Death Mountain exit's going to be their only accessible way out, and we're going to be taking a long trip through vanilla Death Mountain.
That's very true as well. That's absolutely true that could be the way to the east or whatever other continent we need. I mean, we do need to hit up Maze Island as well with a full 6-gem clear, so they got to hit everything. And, I mean, it's going to be one or the other, I would imagine.
And Cynas down to his final bar of health here on Barba. These safe strats, taking a bit of time, but paying off, as long as he doesn't die, gets the clear. This is going to be... almost guaranteed another level plus an extra level from the gem placement. So,
yeah, I wanted to comment on levels earlier. 3-3, Cynas, I think, walked in here at 3-3-4 he had 3-3-4 less than 10 minutes in. So we were talking about how this is going to be pretty forgiving here. Gets the kill. I totally missed how much experience came off of Barba there. Didn't look like much. Looked like 500 maybe.
Ooh, yeah, 500 is. I believe that's -2 for Barba, and that is the only roll it could have been that doesn't get him this extra level. So
yeah,
a bit sad, but I don't blame him for just taking the level and not trying to get fancy.
Yeah, with the 6 gems, the 6 free levels, I would not get fancy here either. I would just take that level and GTFO.
Oh, interesting. He took the. I don't hate this. He took the XP and he's just gonna farm the front of the palace here to try and get attack 4 because this attack 3 is bad. Trail's informing me that apparently the vanilla value on Barba is 700, so a -2 would be 300.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I'm used to seeing a 700 to 1,000 Barba roll for sure. 500 is always pretty low.
Yeah,
I always feel kind of like I got a little let down by that. Like someone stole some experience from me with a 300 or 500 Barba.
Yeah, for people who have not looked into how the XP breaks down, basically there's a certain number of available XP values that are from vanilla, starting at 1,000, 700, 500, 300, all the way down. And the randomizer takes each enemy and rolls it up to a maximum of plus or minus 2 slots in one direction. So Barba starting at 700 can roll as down to 500 or 300 or up to 1,000 or also 1,000.
Yeah, 1,000, of course, being you can't go over the maximum value at this point. That's not something that Digshake is coded in, although it is in his notes to for future updates that he had shown. It's in the code. It's commented out on some of the feature lists that he had, and one of those is to have different XP values. So either maybe some in between numbers or maybe larger than 1,000. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it would be possible, but it'd be a bit interesting. Ooh, Cynas try to dig out the item here, but unfortunately taken one too many trips to the lava bath.
And that's going to cost him his level as well. He didn't get that level. I wonder what he wants out of 6 though, specifically here. I'm not. I don't remember seeing a hint for anything in 6, unfortunately.
Yeah, maybe he knows something that we don't. I mean, at the very least, that 500 bag is gonna put him pretty close to another level here.
Slimu also in a palace. Yeah, I'm not. I didn't watch which one he came in here.
Yeah, I also missed it.
All eyes were on Cynas and Barba fight there. So apologies, Slimu, for watching this back up.
Gonna find out real quick that it's Horsehead.
Oh, and not a beef. Oh, attack 5 must be doing pretty good because that was not a lot of hits on Horsehead there.
Horsehead awarding 50 points, and you'll be happy to have it.
Yeah, you'll take what you can get from Horsehead, and you'll like it, and that's all there is to it. It's going to be absolute, just dirt. Big thanks from Horsehead in his experience. If you're close to a level and you're like, I hope Horsehead gives me enough experience, he won't. You're going to need to look elsewhere. Okay, so we've seen Palace 6, we've seen Palace 1, and we saw Palace 5? We saw Palace 5 early on, did we not?
Yeah, Palace 5 is, I believe it's just hanging out in the southeast.
Okay.
Slimu gonna come back in here, look for the item in 1. I don't know how many keys he has, but presumably at least 1 if he's gonna keep digging this.
Yeah, these are interesting plays from both of our runners. With such a kind of safe-ish seed, they're playing pretty aggressively here, jumping into palaces out of logic, without fairy, without the magic keys. So just using whatever's in the drop pool and hoping they can make that work.
Yeah, I'm sure that at this point Slimu's, he's explored everything on the west and hasn't found any place anywhere else except for Vanilla Death Mountain. And I'm sure he's just thinking, man, I really don't want to go all the way through Vanilla Death Mountain. Like, even if this is a sequence break, maybe I can find, some sort of item to help get me out of here. But at this point, he has all the progression items.
Yeah. They're well equipped at this point. Even in terms of levels, again, coming back to that, Slimu at 545 and Cynas at 435. Very, very nice levels to have this early on, having just placed 1 gem on each side here. Yeah, Trails in chat talking about how the raft tile has to be in the vanilla shuffle no matter what, and this is actually the item room for Big Slamoo. He does not have a key. Maybe not. I don't know if he recognizes that.
Yeah, the raft being in the west definitely does not guarantee that the raft is a way out of here. We still haven't found a way to either the northeast or the Vanilla 3 island. So, entirely possible that the raft could be there and that raft tile is not a way out of here, but don't know if Slamoo has quite checked everything. I don't think he's gone all the way to the western end of the swamp.
Yeah, I don't think so yet. He saw P1 right there at the start of the swamp, and I don't think he's traversed any further into it.
Yeah,
but the raft tile, looking just like a bridge tile, can be placed anywhere. It's just one tile. It's just one tile that you need to step on. So that's another reason to kind of check all the tiles when it comes to vanilla shuffled, is that sometimes it can be misleading as to what the tiles really look like outside of their natural habitat.
Yeah, Slamoo getting the item out of one, just a P bag, but thankfully a bit of a consolation. It is enough to get him an extra level at least.
Cynas still digging around in P6. P6 is going to be a pretty big dungeon, pretty big palace. I don't know if I agree with this play here. Again, like I said, I probably would have just taken the level, gotten out of here, and continued moving along, looking and exploring. There's so much left to explore, knowing that that he still had at least 3 item caves available to find on the west. But I don't know. Hopefully something is rewarding here in P6 for his dig. Otherwise, it's going to be a huge waste of time.
Yeah, I know P6 is a rough one. I don't necessarily blame Slamoo for taking the time to dig the item out of P1, because it's almost always the smallest palace, and you at least have a key. But P6 is it's a lot, and especially when you've already placed the gem. I don't want to be at P6 unless I absolutely need to. But
yeah,
Slamoo did find the back way into Death Mountain, which is nice for 2 reasons. Number one, he's going to be able to get both of these items, so the first one just being a P bag. But the second big advantage is it means that Vanilla Death Mountain is in fact not their way out of the west, because both exits have been found. So there is going to be a way to the raft tile that he just has to find that's going to be accessible with the items that he's got so far.
I do wonder if it's hiding in the Parappa Desert area, and it's going to require some maybe a Bagoo block. I'm just not sure. This is where runners need to start thinking outside of the box a little bit when it comes to vanilla shuffle. Things you're used to seeing, that vanilla map, you're used to seeing the vanilla terrain, but when it gets shuffled around like this, it really just messes with your brain. And I think more so if you're used to just seeing the vanilla stuff, especially if you're like a vanilla runner, and then you see this, you're like, this is alien territory. What is this nonsense? And it just totally throws you off. So a lot of exploration, slowly but surely checking every tile on the map sometimes really helps in these particular shuffled continents.
Yeah, and unfortunately, just another small item coming out of Death Mountain there. So Slamoo is going to have to find a way forward. And at this point, it's probably going to be the Saria pass-through, given everything that we've seen.
Yes, you might be looking. Looking for Bagoo. Can be shuffled anywhere. He does not have to be anywhere near the lost tile encounters when it comes to shuffling. So we're looking for potentially a forest tile that's just sitting in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, chat reporting that Slamoo has found Bagoo already. So
okay.
Wouldn't be surprised if this route he's taken is beeline to Saria.
Yeah, and with the hammer, as we talked about earlier, the hammer now opening the traveling across this continent wide open. No more pass-through caves or any of that nonsense, except for the Parappa area there that will always be blocked by usually a pass-through somewhere else on the map. But that's I guess that's where we're seeing. We're going to see if Saria does connect us back there.
Yeah, it looks like there is a town up in the northeast. We'll see if it's the other side of Saria or not in just a bit here.
Yeah, there are three tiles in that area. Normally it's going to be the exit of Parappa Cave, and then P1, and then the grass tile further down along the coast. So I don't know if we've seen every item cave at this point. I'm not sure, but I guess the raft tile's still at large.
Yeah, Slamoo has all of the item caves marked, so
okay,
pretty sure that that's going to be it for items here in the west. We're just looking for the raft. It's going to definitely be the way out of here. Or the raft tile, excuse me. Both are runners, starting with the raft, but we're going to see where Saria takes us. And it is to the northeast, so...
Very nice.
This is at least going to give us... There's going to be one more location up at Vanilla 1, and then the normal exit to Parappa Cave is a town. They have... looks like 2 towns still at large. I don't think they found Rudo or Raru, so...
Okay.
Oh. And it looks like they're both here, so no raft tile here, but either of these towns could be Reflect, and that would put the palaces into logic. Or Fairy Spell, excuse me. This town is definitely Reflect.
Yeah.
Go west to find the magic jar. Thanks.
Thank you so much for that. Got Cynas digging into P5 here. Again, out of logic, just relying on key drops. So we'll see how far he gets. This is not an exciting palace to just dig into for funsies. So he might get beat up pretty badly. Although his levels are pretty good for this amount of time. I guess he's had these levels for about 15 minutes now. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how well-versed he is at fighting Guma, but I guess we'll find out if he does find him.
Getting another hint burned. Go west to find the boots. Thanks.
A lot of useful hints here on the west. 4 items on the west that we already have.
Yeah, that's 3 of our 4 hints already occupied, and none of them really that valuable.
What spell is this here in Raru? Is this fire?
Okay, we're gonna see what
there
it is. It is shield.
It is the Snuggie.
Yep, nice and warm in your Snuggie that makes you shoot fire.
So no magic key, no fairy spell, and no raft tile yet. It's got to be around here somewhere, though.
It's got to be one of these pass-throughs, something that our runners missed because there's no more possible progression items available.
Yeah, it could be hiding. Did we see what was on the other side of where the vanilla exit to Saria and the vanilla entrance to Death Mountain happened to lie? There's that's a very little segregated area down there, so that could be something that holds our raft tile.
Yeah, definitely possible. I know Slamu checked. There is a cave sort of across that section of river, but I'm not sure Slamu checked the other side of it. Yeah,
see, this is talking about what we were talking about earlier about the vanilla lost woods tile encounters. When you hit them in their vanilla locations, they do just start you in the middle, but when they're used as a pass-through somewhere else, moving from left to right, again, a very cool addition that just happens to happen with the randomizer.
Yeah, so this is Jump Cave, and I don't think we've seen the other side of it, so this also very likely to contain a path to somewhere, because I don't think we've seen the other end of Jump Cave. So,
and something you mentioned early on is the little island there where normally Vanilla Palace 3 sits. So that is another little location that we could connect to, and that could have our raft tile as well. Oh, also in chat, the same time I was saying it, chat was, yes, BT Slacker pointed that out in chat as well.
Oh, there it goes. The other side, and yeah, we are sailing away.
Beautiful.
It's a bit of a trek for our runners to get back to if they ever encounter any issues. But for now, here's Maze Island.
Yeah, game overs are going to be quite a journey back to the east, or at least through Maze Island here, and then they're going to have to make this journey at least one more time because at least Big Slamu is leaving behind 5 and 6 currently back on the west, but he more or less should because it is not currently in logic at this time. Yeah, better to keep going, find at least the fairy spell or the any key before turning around. I suspect what Slamu is going to avoid going back to the west until
absolutely necessary, because it's one of those things where, once you've gotten something to put dungeons into logic, you sort of think, well, I'll clear out everything that's near me on the east. If I absolutely have to, I can take it up at any time. And if the worst happens and I game over, well, I had to go back and clear those dungeons anyway, so...
Yeah, he's going to have to also go get Reflect out of Rudo. He didn't have the trophy beforehand, right? Tracker is up to date. So no trophy at this point. I didn't see the hint when he walked in there, but he'll have to head back through a different set of connections to get back to that section to turn and Reflect. This is the nonsense that you can run into in vanilla shuffled continents, is all this back and forth, a lot of walking, and especially with a full 6-gem clear, this could be just kind of a long one.
Conveniently, GP is sort of positioned at a midpoint between the long journey from the west to the east. So wherever our runners finish up placing their 6th gem, it's not going to be too far of a walk back to GP.
Yeah, and a nice little trick, we'll see if either runner employs this, is that the raft tile and the Maze Island connector bridge are two particular setups, connections that actually allow access to the water outside of Maze Island itself. There's a one tile walkable water, just one tile walkable all the way around Maze Island. So he could he could come in on the raft tile, walk out to the water, walk all the way around, avoid all the encounters, come in through the Maze Island bridge, and then just hit up GP instead of just slightly a little bit faster, as you see some runners do that from time to time.
Meanwhile, Cynas still digging around in these palaces. He's gotten very, very close to what I have to presume is attack 5 at 2250. So. That seems pretty likely to be attack. So we found the east, and it is much more normal in air quotes. This is a vanilla-like randomized terrain.
Yeah, hopefully the boots will come in a little handy over here. Hopefully there'll be some shortcuts along the way. Otherwise, those boots are going to be nothing but keeping his feet warm.
Yeah, at least if you get a vanilla east, the boots are at least very useful there. With a vanilla-like east,
That's
who
true.
knows? But you're still always happy to find them, because until you've seen all the different continents, you never know when you're going to find some islands, and the boots just make all the difference in the world there.
Yes.
Meanwhile, at least one useful thing coming out of the boots. Very useful.
Yep, super. Okay. Belay my last about the boots not being too useful. They happen to be actually required.
Yeah, we knew that trophy was here on the east, but there it is.
So now what do? Do you go right back to the west? No, maybe not. That's there's no palace logic. I'm sorry. Nope, I'm jumping the gun here. However, let's step one step forward here. If he finds Fairy and or the magic key, do you immediately head back to the west, clear out the west, get the reflect spell, then come back to the east, clear out the east, and then hit up Maze Island? Or how do you do that?
Yeah, I think since you still have to pick up the reflect spell, and there aren't any additional progression items here in the east. If there was anything that might reasonably be progression, I'd be kind of tempted to stick around to the east a little longer, finish my exploration, maybe clear out some palaces over here, but you've got a double dip. There's no more progression. They already have all of the items.
Yeah, there's a bit of it is a decision to make, because you've got the toughest palaces over on the west to go back to if you up an A immediately. You got 6 and 5 to clear out. Do you really want to jump into those right away? It depends on how skilled you are. On top of that, if you do have Reflect, P4 is not that far off of the Maze Island connector bridge, so you could make an argument that if he gets the progression items to push him into palaces here, then he just clears out everything but P4 over here, heads back, clears out 5 and 6, gets Reflect, comes back to Maze Island, hits the Maze Island connector bridge to the east, does P4 real quick, steps out of P4, back into Maze Island, and then back into GP. And we've just routed the seed right here, folks.
Yeah, I think both of those two routes are pretty. I would call them pretty much equivalent. Pick up Thunder here is at least a little nice, because it's you're gonna have to make one trip to the north end of the east. In an ideal world, one reset and then one sort of finishing things off at or near Maze Island. So
yeah, there's nothing that's super clean in perfect routing. You have to go back and forth no matter what at this point. Trails with the option 2 there. Clear out the east, leave P4 because it's close by GP. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I would probably make a panicked mistake, seeing the progression item, be like, I need to go back. Let's go back, and then getting myself caught up in a terrible P5, P6. As Cynas is showing us how exciting P5 is over here.
Yeah, pretty much any route that doesn't involve having to go back and do this north end of the east an additional time is going to be a good one. You know, you have to do this section once. You know you have to do the east. Yeah, also, just in general, we're sort of getting ahead of ourselves on talking about routing here. We still have not found either the any key or the fairy spell.
Looks like new Kasudo, I think, at this point. I think we've seen everything. We saw new Baru. We saw old Kasudo. Here's Darunia, and then we just need new Kasudo. So I guess it's going to be a free fairy spell in new Kasudo, even if it's behind, even if it's hidden behind a 3-eyed rock or a forest tile. We've got the tools to get us in there. So nothing stopping us other than just finding it.
Slimu not gonna go for the super jump. Just taking the vanilla route up to get the upstab here.
Item.
Oh man, the item for Cynas is the magical key.
That is really going to help him with his early palace digging here. That's amazing that worked out in his favor, having a key, finding the item room here finally, and now not having to worry about anything else. Although he did find that, again, just to let everyone know that is completely out of logic, but it's something that can happen.
Yeah, this is going to be a big advantage for Cynas here too, because he's not going to have to double dip the west. He'll be able to clear the whole thing out before he heads over to the east. Is that going to be enough to compensate for the amount of time that he spent finding this magical key? Probably not, but
yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, there was a lot of time spent in P6 and a lot of time spent in P5 here. I don't know if he ever saw Guma's room and just backed out of it. I haven't been watching him like a hawk, but yeah, this is a big palace is what it looks like. It's a lot of time spent in here.
That is at the very least the kind of item that if you're going to gamble on these early out of logic palaces that you're looking to find. Slimu here, finding new Kasudo. Of course, checking the sign to find that it is in fact the only spell left in the game.
Does he have spell? Did he pick up the spell? Are we going to see what's in the spell tower?
The spell was in town names escape me. The White Town, the fourth town.
Mito. Yeah. Okay. So
yes.
No medicine, no spell, no spell tower for us. So could be a magic container, could be a heart container, could be a blue jar. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, at this point, not really relevant. I think the most valuable item that he could be looking for would just be heart container at this point, but given how many small items that we've found, it's not looking like there's going to be many, if any, additional heart containers in this seed.
Yeah, that's entirely possible. For anyone who's not familiar with that, when we play Max Rando, the Max Heart Containers flag is set to random, which means there may not be, it's going to be random on how many extra heart containers are going to be found in the seed in addition to what they start with, up to a maximum of 8. So, starting with 5, there could have been 3 at most available, but it's going to be anywhere between 0 and 3, and the randomizer rolls that internally, and so there may not be another heart container anywhere else in the seed at all. And you won't know that until you start exploring, and you really wouldn't know that unless you full cleared the seed to find that out. And if we don't come across one, we may just have to assume that there weren't any others in the seed. And that's not too rare. I'd say that's not too rare.
Yeah, I don't entirely know I don't know whether the min and max are independent rolls or not. I haven't looked at that section of the code, but
yeah, that's true. I don't know either.
It does seem to be the case pretty often that you don't find any additional heart containers, especially when you start with a decent number. But you can sort of tell there are 4 small items that are in the vanilla drop pool. They're all P-bags available in various caves. And the randomizer replaces any of those plus any additional items that were removed, like heart containers that got rolled out of the max. Those all get replaced by any random small item that could be in the regular drop pool, a single key, a 1-up, recovery jar. And so I think we've already seen at least 5 or 6 of them from Slamu. So we know there's been a few items at least removed from the pool.
Yeah.
And that does include their starting items. I know they had three starting items and a starting heart container here, so we would expect at least a decent number. But
that's very true as well. And I guess to be fair, when I say it's not too rare that we get no extra heart containers, I guess I normally don't do a full clear on the seed. Normally when you're racing the timer, you're just trying to clear it as fast as you can. So it could be slightly biased from my perspective here when I say that, simply because I don't normally do full clears of the seed unless it's a low heart container start. And I might be looking for an extra heart container somewhere. If I feel I'm okay, I'll just move on and not really concern myself with extra heart containers. But you're absolutely correct, is that, you'll just see a bunch of junk items in more locations than you would expect to find them. And then you can start assuming, well, these are heart containers probably that were removed from the seed.
Yeah, Cynas with a really, really clean Guma fight.
Yeah, I saw that. That was very nice.
And gets rewarded with an additional level here. So he's going to be in the lead on the board with 2 palaces cleared. And having your 2 palaces cleared B5 and 6 is pretty nice. But he's going to have to pretty quickly start finding his way through to the rest of the seed, because Slamu is really going to start clearing these palaces in a hurry now that he's in go mode.
Yeah, the knowledge of where all the connections lead to on the west and where the trophy, where the reflex ball is hiding, and that is behind the trophy, and its location and all those things, that's all very valuable knowledge in terms of progressing through the seed here. So while Cynas may have those palaces down, again, for like the 7th time I've said this, he did spend a lot of time in there out of logic, and lucky for him that magic key was in there. That is a huge save from his perspective. Otherwise, it would have been a huge amount of time wasted.
Yeah, but the big concern from Cynas' side that I have is he gonna find that pass-through bridge? I say immediately before he enters the pass-through bridge.
Yeah, maybe he was watching the race the other night, and maybe he checked out on that. That's interesting. This bridge is it's incredible that this is coming into play here.
Yeah, this is turning into a bit of a commentator's curse. Whenever we do commentary on a race, this bridge is always coming up important.
It was so funny. We were talking about it, and I think it was you that wasn't 100% familiar with it, and I was like, I swear, I hope it's in here so we can all see it. And sure enough, it was in that previous race, and here it is again. It's it doesn't happen that often that it's useful. It's just I don't know. It's just one of several pass-through tiles that can exist on the shuffled vanilla here, and well, here it is, two seeds in a row for us on shuffled vanilla.
Yeah. I was not aware of this bridge existing as a possible pass-through prior to commentating these races, and I'll tell you what, I'm gonna definitely keep it in mind for the rest of my races.
No kidding, yeah. And as Trails was talking about in the previous seed as well, when you walk into those tiles, you always enter in from one direction. So if you want to test that bridge real fast, walking it from the left side, walking it from the right side, if it puts you into the, if I'm not mistaken, if it puts you into the same side, like if you walk into it from the left and it puts you in on the right, you know that's that bridge then. No, I'm not gonna take the name for the Mirai Bridge. It's usually has to be named after someone who either won a race or got burned by it, perhaps.
Yeah, don't want to spoil the results of the previous race, but maybe we could name it after that person.
I did see it first come to bite RCS in the ass back last year's Max Rando tournament. So that's the first time that I got a chance to experience it from the audience, and yeah, that was pretty interesting. Again, not watching which palace we're in, but I assume it's going to be 2 or 4. It's not going to be 4 because it doesn't have reflect yet, so I'm guessing 2.
Yeah, it should be that. And Cynas actually found his way over to through Fairy Cave, found his way over to the southeast island where Vanilla 3 is, but fortunately nothing of value there, as we already know from process of elimination.
So is that where the bridge took us? That's where the bridge takes us over to the island?
Fairy Cave takes us over to the island.
Okay,
the bridge takes us from the northern section to the southwest.
Okay. Sorry, I am not. Vanilla Shuffle is confusing enough as a runner, and
Slamu taking a death to my least favorite robe that seems to happen on every seed. This obnoxiously trolly mower robe.
Yeah, left to right, pretty simple. Right to left can be a nightmare.
Yeah, the Moa's dying in one hit definitely simplifies the room a ton.
Yeah, when you come in from left to right, the Moas are usually stacked on top of each other. But from right to left, for some reason, I guess for the normal, I guess it's weird that they're stacked on top of each other, but it's convenient when you move left to right, which makes the room easier. Right to left, though, they separate for whatever reason, and that becomes super troll at that point. That's usually like a fairy room almost, if you can't kill those Moas very quickly. Otherwise, you got a bunch of fire that you're trying to dodge on a disintegrating bridge, and it's not fun times.
Yeah, I have definitely given up. If I have fairy spell there, I will 100% of the time just cast it.
Yeah, saves on a huge headache.
I have died many times going right to left in that room, but Slimu after one death did manage to pretty deftly navigate it.
And that being a community room, that's one of those community rooms that really sticks out to me. It's like you don't see it too often normally. There are so many rooms to pick from that, the percentage that a room shows up is, I don't know, it's still pretty low overall. But I really like the room because it has those different approaches to it from left to right, right to left. The knowledge and the experience of having dealt with that room as a runner in a palace before. That's one of those rooms that's just, again, you benefit as kind of a veteran runner who's played with that room and knows how that works in each direction.
Interesting, Slamu, when he was crossing that bridge, did not pick up that key, even though he does not have the magical key.
He's tired of picking keys. They're holding him down.
Right? At this point, you've got Magic 6 and 8 bars. You're sort of just like, yeah, whatever. I'd get me out of this seed.
I think he's too used to playing Dragon Warrior Randomizer, where you've got limited inventory space.
Yeah. Gotta be careful not to pick them up. Slamu, in quite a number of randomizer tournaments right now, I know, in addition to Dragon Warrior, Slamu is in both the Z2 and the upcoming Z1 randomizer tournaments. So keeping himself busy and so far, reasonably successful. Yeah.
Trying to be like Jay Coper, who also has his hand in 47 different tournaments at the same time, but is able to juggle all of them like a professional.
Yeah, really just amazingly. It's okay. It's I don't think he's going to win his race this week, so.
Finding the medicine here, though, in P2. I don't... that was spell. Again, it'd be something that's not too useful. Yeah, we didn't have a reason to go in Mito. If they started with downstab, no reason to go in Mito. Sometimes when you go in Mito for downstab, even if it happens to be a spell that you're like, I don't really want this, like the life spell or something, you might just check where the hint is for the medicine just to know that, hey, I'm in this palace and I don't need this item and I can just totally skip it.
Yeah, for sure. To answer a question from chat, Jay Coper's race this week is me. I have confidence for no particular reason.
This has been a great tournament so far. We've got some wild seeds that we've seen already, and that's the great thing about Max Rando is that you could just get dealt just wild stuff. And as much as we don't normally see a lot of, like you say, there's not a super high chance to roll Vanilla Shuffle, but we've been seeing a lot of Vanilla Shuffle, which always kind of throws a wrench in the spokes of any well-oiled machine. Because of all the figuring out all the pass-throughs and the way that they move. And another reason why that's difficult to navigate at times is that we play these days in 4.0, we generally play with a flag that's turned on like 99% of the time. And it's that the pass-through caves, or any caves in general, are going to connect you in the direction they're facing. And that cuts down on a ton of headache on trying to figure out, whether you went into a cave from the east and ended up somewhere in the north. And you're like, okay, which direction did I go in? Well, vanilla shuffled, once again, even if that flag is enabled, it doesn't follow those rules. It just kind of throws you wherever those particular two sides of the cave happen to be placed on the continent. So it's another one of those things where that ease of routing is, once again, just thrown in the garbage, and you have to figure it out. And so Max Rando has been doing its thing well from at least the audience perspective. Some of our runners running into some trolley seeds. You had a fairly trolley seed as your first race. That one was very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it is the joy and the curse of Max Rando, right? Like anything can happen, and really anyone can be victorious coming out of these races, because there's just so many things that could throw you for a loop. We could have 2.5 hour long seeds and 14-minute seeds.
Yes. Even my first race against Victor Santa Fe, we started out 1 HAR container, but we did find 2 HAR containers fairly soon into the seed. So wasn't too punishing, but some of those palaces that we went through were pretty tough, and you had to get a little creative in some of those rooms. So again, just the spirit of Max Rando here is that's what the audience loves to see. And you hope that it's not too difficult for the runners as well, because when something gets you, because you can get just thrown into the absolute chemical fire that just your skin is melting off because it's such a terrible seed. And that's really not fun to watch the runners just struggle through something like that. Even the best runners can find themselves in some really terrible situations that are just endlessly frustrating. And as much as the audience may want to see the runners struggle, at some point it does become exhausting, and you're like, yeah, this seed sucks. And so if that does happen, we do have a mercy rule in place. So for the first 30 minutes, if the seed is too atrocious, if one of the runners doesn't like the seed, they can just say, hey, I want to invoke the mercy rule, and we're going to re-roll the seed. But you only get one of those, so hopefully you don't re-roll another nightmare seed.
Big Slammer taking a big bop on Horsehead, but 3 lives remaining, 5, 6, 7. Helmet Head. I don't think Helmet Head's going to live too much longer. And Helmet Head having a little bit of a graphical bug from the way that he died.
That was interesting.
No head initially.
Yeah, so these are, as you pointed out, these some healthy levels here are going to be placing a 3rd gem for Big Slamu, tying up with Cynas here, who is in, I don't know what palace.
I think this is Palace 1, if I remember right. Yeah.
Oh, he's looking for the item. I was going to say, I just saw him down horsed. So, okay, he's still in Palace 1. That makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that elevator he just passed is where the item is. So, unfortunately, he's going to spend a little bit more time in here. But
yeah, the sooner he finds what I believe is a pea bag, the sooner he'll be out of here.
Yeah. And he's definitely he's found a loop, and he's sort of like, okay, where is the way out of this?
So Slamu with the option 2 of clearing the east other than P4, heading back to the west now, en route to Rando, probably to turn in the trophy, get the reflect spell, and then clear out 5 and 6, and then through Maze Island one more time, off to the east one final time to hit P4, then head backwards into Maze Island, do GP, and we'll be out of here in about 12 and a half minutes flat, folks.
Yeah,
give or take 30.
Yeah, bit of a detour here to pick up the spell. Not entirely sure why.
Neither am I.
Just decides he wants to, cross off all of the spells on his list. Maybe he doesn't, is not remembering which of his 2 spell block towns have which spell, but not going to be too much of a time loss to go pick that up. And you never know, that might be helpful in GP for whatever reason. He's going to end on pretty high magic levels, so
I'm not sure that spell actually affects anything in GP, to be honest with you. It's like a very special enemy set in there that's like immune to all that stuff.
Yeah, to be honest, I have not tried to cast spell in GP in quite some time.
It might work on some enemies, but I don't know if it works on all of them.
Yeah. It's one of those things that I think you do accidentally more than intentionally if you've got like fire spell or something and you're just sort of, casting it for fire and you all of a sudden see something turn into a bot and it's like, oh. Cynas finding out that Helmet Head does indeed guard the not very useful medicine.
And Slamu into 5. I'm not entirely sure how. I mean, it took Cynas a long time to find Guma, but I don't think he was too far in. I could be mistaken on that. We'll happen to see if he digs the item out as well, and if he does, he will be rewarded with that magic key.
Yeah, Cynas finding Bagu, so that's going to be his progression. He should be going through to. I believe that leads over to where Rudo is at the least. Curious whether I don't remember whether he found the second Death Mountain entrance yet or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Worst case, he can. Well, he found the first one, but it would be a bit sad if he doesn't find the second one and takes the long way.
He did actually. He was already in Death Mountain, if I'm not mistaken. He was in Hammer Cave at one point, and I remember him picking up the nothing.
Oh, right. Okay.
The one up in there.
Yeah, Death Mountain, unfortunately, completely useless. But
okay, chat. I thought I saw Trails say that earlier when Cynas was in here that Guma is only a few rooms in if you just take the right turns. Cemetery also checking in and saying yes, that's Guma's not too far in, but again, you gotta pick the right direction. So we'll see if Slamu uses his Guma senses and see if they tingle and if he can find his way there.
Yeah, I'm sure Slam is hoping that the right way is in fact go right.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of taking every elevator that I see, even when a right is available, but he's going to be forced to take an elevator here.
I think this is a loop back to the beginning. We saw, again, looking between the two runners here, making sure Cynas is doing his stuff on the west here, and then checking back in with Slamu back and forth can be a little, you just miss things.
Yeah, it's difficult to see everything. Cynas is just finishing up his check of the southwest end of the west here, and should find his pass through that's going to take him to the raft tile sooner rather than later. Yeah, this is Jump Cave. I believe this is where he needs to be to progress.
So Fairy's 28 I caught on Slamu's side, Magic 6. So the Magic Key, I'm going to say probably not required at all here. Even if we see that room in GP, there are keys in the drop pool, so it's entirely possible to farm up a key if necessary. But we'll see whether he finds the item first or Guma first. If he finds Guma first, if he digs back in for the item at this point. Almost at the hour mark as well.
Yeah, it would be a little surprising if he decides to go back in, especially given that this is 5, and despite the fact that there seems to exist a correct and fairly quick way to get to Guma, Slamu not finding it initially.
A lot of time that is the case. It's just like, man, if you just went the right way, it's not really that far in.
Yeah, it especially when you just need to go left. Cynas thinking about taking the water route around Maze Island, but
I don't remember what we saw here. We saw a magic container, I believe, and something else I don't remember on Cemetery.
I think it was just a small item.
Okay, Cemetery checking in with 1-up.
Yeah, it's I mean, at this point, Cynas knows that he is mostly in go mode. He doesn't know. I'm fairly certain he found the hint for reflect, and that's the The only other thing he would need is Fairy, and I guess he doesn't. From his perspective, that can still be blocked behind the child, so it does make at least a little bit of sense to dig out these items.
Here's our Guma.
Going with jump strats here.
Yeah, speaking of jump, coming back to, we talked about that on the Barba fight, I am not a huge fan of using jump. It just feels like there's no gravity. It totally throws off my sense of attacking, and I'm just totally thrown off balance, and it's just too weird for me. That doesn't mean that people can't make it work. Obviously, people do. Even outside of Barba and jackhammer strats, either top jackhammer or side jackhammer, as they call it. But just something, I don't know. I think it just comes down to practice and getting used to it. But man, it just feels so floaty.
Yeah, it's definitely. I don't think it's. I don't think it's. There is a strictly correct strategy as to whether to use it or not. If you have it available to you, you can get roughly the same number of hits regardless. Outside of obviously the jackhammer technique, which is very fast but very dangerous.
But very flashy, very, very stylish.
Oh yeah, when well executed.
Love to watch it.
When well executed, it is a sight to see.
I'm kind of also sometimes rooting that people do fall into the lava because they're being a little too stylish, and I don't know. I hope they execute it, but I also hope maybe they take a quick lava bath and I'm like, well, maybe I should maybe stop doing that.
It certainly adds excitement.
It does. So, and if there's time to save and you do have someone who's like really well versed at it or well experienced with it, is that it is flashy. It's nice to watch. It's the quick in, quick out, one cycle Barber. You're like, wow, that was fast. That's impressive.
Yeah, and then you take a little trip into the lava and lose all the experience for Barba. And
at least Barba, it's an interesting boss, and just the way the room is set up is that Barba will still be dead even if you kill Barba and then fall into the lava. But you won't get the experience. You'll at least get the item drop from when you walk back into the room. The item will drop from the ceiling. You'll be able to pick it up and progress through the room as if you had just killed the boss. Again, without that experience, though. There's no other. I don't think there's any other boss that you can like double KO like that in that sense.
Slamu setting up an encounter skip here, trying to make his way up to his reflect spell.
Yeah, he knows where the raft tile leads to now, or he knows how to get to the raft tile, so he needs to get this hint. He needs to take it, run with it, and get off to the east as soon as he can. I'm sorry, I'm totally flipping directions here. Oh my god. I'm watching Slamoon talking about he's in Rando, about to pick up his reflect spell, and I'm over here talking about Cynas. Wow.
Yeah, it's Cynas making good progress, after having completed all his palaces in the west, should be in the east fairly shortly, and nice little Parappa the Rapper reference here as we pick up the reflect spell, only 27 points.
Still 2 levels to get. We'll see if Slamu starts burning gems. See if he starts flexing on us with burning a few gems here. I'm not sure that's the case, but I don't know. Maybe he's been practicing. Maybe he wants to show us up a little bit.
Yeah, 667. I know Slamu is or 677. Excuse me. Certainly comfortable enough to be able to beat GP with those levels. It wouldn't surprise me though if, given how safe he's played the rest of the seed. He'll probably just pick up the last few levels, even though it's probably just going to end him on 688, probably. Because he's got 2 more palaces still.
Probably a life 8's probably coming up at the 4440 mark there.
Yeah, definitely going to be life 8, but who knows? Maybe attack 7. 778 would be really ideal, to be honest.
Yeah, depending on how comfortable he feels, only 5 heart containers doesn't, as we were talking about earlier in the race, we haven't found another heart container yet, and we've seen many of the locations at this point, so it's very likely that there isn't another heart container. So there is maybe an argument to make that if you really want to make sure that you are as shielded, as highly defensive as you can going into the GP, you would take life 8 in that case then. then again, with the randomizer being the randomizer and having randomized stats in terms of how much strength they have, it could be that Life 8 is as powerful as Life 7.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I think more with Life 8 than anything else. The last couple levels can be weird. Yeah,
definitely weird on magic for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen Attack 9 guy around in a while. It's somewhat of a shame. In one of our races earlier this week, or was it late last week? I don't remember. But there was a race that had the amazing appearance of like Magic 13 or something.
That's right. I forget all the details with that, but we were taking. That's right.
It was a 6-gemmer that had some really generous experience and some really unfortunate trips into dungeons.
Oh, that was Dr. J. That's right.
And yeah, Dr. J was just he ran out of things to do with his experience.
That is so funny. Yeah, he's a collector. He's a collector for sure.
Well, Cynas did have the reflect spell coming in here. I believe that wasn't Magic Tower. That was just picking up his cross. And that's right. He also doesn't have the spell. The spell is in is blocked behind the medicine. You would have to make a double dip over to the east to get that, and I don't think either of our runners are gonna do that.
Did Slamu picked up spell, didn't he? We were questioning that. Is that what we were questioning? Just
oh, that's right. He did go back and pick up the spell, and we were unsure why. Because I don't think he's gonna head back there. He certainly could, but with 4 being right next to GP, you would expect that he would just clear out 4 and then immediately turn around and start trying to find Darklink, but.
Yeah, perhaps it is, again, coming back to all the safeties, perhaps it is the 5 hard containers that he feels if I can get a 6th one, I'll feel much more confident going into GP. But I would say with these life levels and the shield spell and such a high magic level to have all the spells be pretty cheap at this point, I think I would just go. I mean, personally, I would just go. But even if I were in his shoes as again, slightly inexperienced runner, I would probably... I hate to call him inexperienced. He's not. He did well in the last tournament for sure. So I don't know. I don't know where to place Big Slamu on the knowledge or the spectrum of Z2R in terms of experience and how well of a player is. He's good. He's good. Well, is that okay? Am I allowed to say he's good? Am I digging the hole?
Yeah, no. I mean, Big Slamu is a newer runner to the Z2 scene, but definitely having proven himself. I know he had a very good showing in the standard tournament this year, and then in the Speed Gaming Live tournament, knocked out yours truly to advance pretty far into the bracket. So,
yeah, I actually in round 1 I knocked him down there, so it's kind of my fault.
Thanks.
Oh,
yeah,
funny.
These I mean, Rando is Z2 Randomizer. I say this all the time. Really, anyone can win any race, and especially on Max Rando.
Oh yeah.
It's there's just so many. Even an experienced runner can miss something. Not find a cave, not find a bridge that actually is a pass through in vanilla for some reason. And all of a sudden, even a newer, more inexperienced runner can take down races from some of our veterans. So, you never know what to expect.
No, yeah, I would totally agree with that. You can never, even as an experienced runner, you can never just discount a newer runner. It's like it's the age-old tale of the rabbit, the hare and the tortoise. It's just you're gonna be like, oh, this is gonna be an easy win, and the next thing you know, you've lost. And then you're just like, wait, how did that happen? And you just got too cocky, and you might as well just play the seed, play it well as best as you can, and never take your opponent for granted, no matter how much experience they may or may not have. Especially in those like low gem seeds where you may get caught up on something or you may miss something, and then that's it. You looked in the wrong you looked in the wrong spot, and they looked in the right spot, and it's over.
Yeah, and despite all the time he took in those early palaces, Cynas is not that far behind still. He's in the east. He's not going to have to take his trip back to the west. If he starts finding these palaces over here in the east quickly and starts clearing them out, he could. Oh, I say that, and I keep thinking that he's already got the reflect spell. He does not.
Yeah, that tricky reflect spell.
So he is going to have to take a trip back to the west. Excuse me. You look at it. You look at a tracker and see everything's lit up, and like, it's definitely go mode. But especially in Max Rando, P4 is a palace that a lot of runners will skip if they at all can, because it's just adding an extra requirement to your seed. But when you roll a 6-gemmer, no choice, got to do it.
Yeah, this is like a standard. This is pretty much just a standard seed with the little Max Rando sprinkled on top for the most part.
Yeah, we didn't start off with items that were that strong. We had the raft, the flute, which has turned out to be totally useless, and the candle, which just a little bit of a luxury item. And then 6 gems going from west to east. And Slamu, after all that searching, has found the entrance.
So, Cynas finding a hint on the bat on the ceiling, which is in the west side of Naburu. I always check for those hints if I feel I need hints. There are 2 hints on that side of that town. And he checked the bat. I've never gotten a good hint from that bat yet. He got the hint that Guma sits on the magic key, and so he did a little bit of stabbing in that room there to show his... not unhappy with that one.
So all 4 hits in the seed. Garrett confirmed useless. Slimu could have potentially gotten some value if he had found that, but
sure.
Before V4, the second guy that you had to talk to 4 times to pick up a hint was in Saria, and it used to be he was pretty easy to check on your way by, but he has been updated to now always provide a hint for the location of Bagu's woods.
The bot, the bot sitting on the bench or whatever in there,
Yeah, which unfortunately is much less useful, because 50% of the time, even if you do need to use Sari as a pass-through, 50% of the time, you cannot get that hint because it's on the wrong end of the river.
Yeah.
But it has been helpful before. Cynas trying to fairy feed his way through the Valley of Death here. He's got plenty of casts.
I was going to say, as a new runner, I would not expect fairy feed at this point. He's probably doing a lot of practice here. Watching other runners. I don't know how, as we both talked about in the beginning, not sure exactly what his knowledge is with Z2 period. I know, again, just Z2R, he's fairly new to that, but might have some vanilla knowledge. And of course, the fairy feed trick is a vanilla thing that they do in the glitched category. So he might just know that from there.
Yeah, trying to set up an encounter skip. I don't know how many lives he has left, but doesn't want to take another one to fill up his magic.
Yeah, something worth noting is that if you're just not familiar, if you're not, how do I want to put this? If you can't execute the fairy feat all that well, all that often, it's probably better to just try for those encounter skips and then just fairy through those, and that just makes your life a whole lot easier.
Slamu on Barbie here is doing a little bit of jackhammering.
He's getting fancy on us with the Snuggie.
Looks like he's probably going to be a 5-cycle. Yep.
Attack 6, making quick work there. We'll see what 4440 is. Again, we think it's life 8. Or if we'll see, it just burns the gem. That's a negative. "75 minutes into the seed. 5 out of 6 palaces down for Big Slamu. We're going to see this level here. Okay, so there's our final count. If he wants, it's going to be 778 if he takes the attack level in the next palace.
Yeah, that seems pretty likely. It's actually kind of low for an attack 7, only 5,200.
It is. 5,200 is pretty low.
But with how high Magic 8 rolled, it wasn't even close. So See how Cynas navigates the
Yeah.
bad bot room, and not quite making that jump, taking a lava bath.
That's definitely a fairy candidate room right there. If you're just not familiar with that room, just hit fairy, get through there. It's a cheap cast, and just go.
Yep. And definitely gonna do it on the second attempt. Be safe, make it across.
Yeah, there's absolutely no shame there. Again, veteran runners will easily just take fairy in that room to just totally remove any headache that you may have if you've got access to it. If you have access to the fairy spell, take it, use it, get out of there.
Especially on Cynas Society, and he's already got the magical key. He's got 8 bars of magic. It's not going to be a real loss, that extra couple bars to use fairy.
All right, Slamu off to Maze Island here. See if he does the little one-tile water trick. No, but probably not too big of a deal. I think there's only one encounter here right up here before we get to the palace.
Yeah, and he'll be able to fairy feed across it, so just costing him a few extra seconds.
Off to the east, off to find P4, which is just west of our starting location. We can see it there in the swamp.
It definitely, with V4, it's been a while since I've seen any of those full screen swamps that V3 was known for. I'm a little bit nostalgic for them.
I am not sure I'm familiar with the. Oh, you mean just overworld swamps?
Yeah, just overworld swamps. V3 had a nasty habit of just generating swamps the size of Texas. And
yeah, that's where Dig Shake was accused by multiple parties of being in the pocket of Big Swamp. Yes, okay, I've heard of that. I've heard of that past.
Yeah, there's at least one Dig Swamp emote floating around from those days.
And just to be fair, folks, it was allegedly nothing was ever proven. So
yeah,
it's still a mystery that is potentially unsolved.
The,
some money in the background, moving around.
The V4 overworld generation is quite an improvement from some of the old logic, and especially, I know we talked about it earlier, the ability for caves to point in the direction they go is just a world of improvement.
Yeah, gigantic quality of life improvement, and I can only speak from the 4.0 version of the randomizer. That's just what I started with, so I'm only really familiar with that. But I've watched many of the old races and tournaments, and I just know what it's like to play without the caves pointing in the direction they're facing. And every once in a while, we do get the vanilla Shuffle Death Mountain, which of course can easily be a huge headache an absolute nightmare to navigate. And so. This is one of those huge quality of life improvements that probably flies under the radar for most players, but they just this is one of the things where old runners pre 4.0 and for all the, for every moment before that, it was one of those, walking to school uphill both directions in 2 feet of snow with no shoes. That's exactly what that used to be like. And nowadays we just got it really good. And you see what we see there on Big Slammy side?
That's a hard container.
That's a rare find for sure.
And it's the version of the room that's actually open instead of requiring an elevator.
I bet he's happy to find that.
Yeah, definitely going to go down and pick it up. Basically the only item that he would pick up at this point.
So there it is. We at least have one other heart container in the seed. Still don't know what's going to be in the spell tower, and I would imagine that Big Slammer is not going to walk all the way back there to check. If he does, we will have to scold him in the post-race interview. Because I'm pretty sure Nuka Studio is pretty far away. I think it's just north of Death Valley over in that area. So he's probably just going to take out Karok and head right back to Maze Island. A very injured Karok at that.
Yeah, he's doing his best to dodge some of these blasts, but no danger of taking a death from Karok at life 8. It would take 6 or 7 teleports into the corner to kill him, so.
Keeps the gem, not going to burn it. Going to take that attack 7. And going to probably, just looking like he's heading right back to Maze Island as the experience builds up.
Yeah, with the flag on to always have the bosses exit directly out to the overworld, the cost of taking this extra XP isn't nearly as much either, because you could just accumulate it while you're passing through screens you were going to pass through anyway, as opposed to having to wait it out so you can up A.
Yeah, I have found that pretty useful, especially when you want to not take that level specifically and you want to kind of keep it and you want to get a few hundred more experience for the next level up. It's really nice that, because sometimes, like in the flag sets where the rooms pass through the boss room into other parts of the palace, sometimes they're useless parts of the palace, and then you find yourself having to walk backwards because you don't want to up an A to waste that experience, and that's can be a huge waste of time. Then you just kind of feel bad about that.
Here's Thunderbird basically right off the bat here. I didn't see whether there was a fork at the beginning or not, but it's going to be not too hard. Slamu with all of the safeties here. And Attack 7 taking some decent chunks out of Thunderbird.
Yeah, this could mean a few things. This could mean either, with the rest of the palace behind Thunderbird at this point, he's not required, so we no longer have to guess at that when we see him later in the palace. That he's required now, so he'll be completely off the map at this point. So you won't wonder later if you run into him whether he's required or not at a later point in the palace. But we have the full palace remaining after Thunderbird, but that doesn't mean that Dark Link is going to be 14 rooms in. He could be at the top of the next elevator or something like that, which is unfortunate. I would say I don't really like those GPs that are super free. I like our runners to have to fight a little bit, but we'll see. We'll have to find out where Darkling's hiding.
Yeah, these are the sorts of GPs that make you real nervous, because you're like, well, I felt like I played this seed comfortably. I felt like I'm in pretty decent shape, but when you have a quick Thunderbird and then, an elevator that forks off into 5 or 6 different paths, it's like, well, someone could easily gain 10 or 15 minutes just by picking the right path, and I hope it's me.
Exactly, yeah. Our first branch is an up and left there. Not going to take that. Going to check to the right. Another elevator.
Yeah, Trail's confirming there was a left at the beginning, so that's still
okay.
Possible as well. Yeah, I couldn't remember whether it was one right away.
I thought it came right down into a curtain room. I totally didn't see that branch.
Yeah, that up that Slamu just found, not confirmed, but looks a lot like the previous up that put him into an up and left. It's the classic go right one, go up, go right again, and end up 2 rooms left. But if that is a loop there, then nice. It's sort of cross 2 different forks off at once.
And another elevator here. Nice 1-up pick though. Nice pickup of a 1-up there.
Yeah, it's a 5th life, but you can take all the lives you can get.
So that was, I believe that's the ferry required room there, or a dash and jump room, but we don't have dash on in this seed. So that looked like the ferry required room, and that's going to be the dead end here. Yeah,
this is the L7 room. This is so one of those paths is gonna have to be our way forward, or the left at the start. Probably, I would say at this point, if you're Slamu, you suspect that those first 2 routes are a loop. He didn't confirm it, but it looks probable. So yeah, he's gonna ferry across this room, see if this left leads him to a reasonable spot. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is a quick dead end. Wouldn't be surprised if he just takes an up A and checks that left at the start rather than trek all the way back to the maybe loop. Spicy Chicken doing his best to put Slamu to the lava, but Slamu's like, I've got Magic 7, I've got 8 bars, I'm going to cast Fairy in every room that's even remotely annoying.
Yeah, very well equipped, again, to be in this palace, so there shouldn't be, it pretty much just comes down to dealing with some terrible rooms. Having upstab here, no big deal for the upstab block. No fancy upstab skips required. Going to do a little jump out, and he's good to go.
Yeah, only 10 magic again. Might as well use the jump spell rather than try to set up being able to get out there normally. Although the palace is certainly putting his magic to use.
Yeah, we got a handful of fairy blocks here in this chain, at least in this path. So interesting if it's required. You could always get a red jar out of that block there, or a red foe could greet you. But yeah.
And is it drop? This could be anything.
Yeah, we did see those open rooms, so it's entirely possible we drop into one of those open rooms back near the start. Or the top of the L7.
Here's the L7 room. Well, here's an L7 room. He'll check a few more rooms to confirm, but it's looking an awful lot like a loop as well.
Yeah, those drops that catch you like that, it's a bunch of magic wasted. It's a bunch of time wasted. You're like, damn it. But then again, it could have been the right move. We've all been in those GPs where we see a bunch of destination drop rooms, and then you see the drop, and you're like, I'm not taking that. I'm not touching that with the 10-foot pole. And all of a sudden, you clear everything else, and it just happens to be that's the drop. And it was a total troll the entire time.
Slamu using his fire spell for shield, but also making good use of the fireballs to try and clear out some of those Bagos. And with Life 8 and the shield spell, those fireballs hitting for almost nothing.
Yeah, he's pretty much impervious in his yellow robes.
So he is going to check this suspected loop. We'll see if it's actually a loop or not.
Yeah, he should have checked that statue to see if there was a jar in there.
And no, it is not a loop.
Cheeseburger Party reporting in chat that Big Slammy does have a key in his pocket in case he runs into that one particular room with the double glove locked in the door in the middle. Because he did not pick up the magic key in P5, as we had seen Cynas stumble upon it pretty early on in the seed.
Yeah, worst case with keys being in the drop pool, he could farm one, but already having one is certainly nice. Just check off anything that can possibly get in your way, and death to a couple bird knights, Slamu just going to be like, yep, solution to all problems, ferry over it.
These rooms are making me a little uncertain. This almost looks like the other side of that one elevator. I don't know. These are the things that make you wonder, man, is this a loop? Is this next one a loop?
Yeah, if this is a loop back to... Oh, no, it's not. I say if that was a loop back, he's still got that up and left at the end of that elevator, as well as the left all the way at the start. But once you've cleared Thunderbird, you sort of want to check all the paths that you can beyond Thunderbird, because it is sort of at this point, even if you've killed Thunderbird and there's some paths to go, there's at least a 50% chance that the path is definitely behind Thunderbird. And even if Thunderbird turns out to not be required, in air quotes, he can still be in a required path to the end just by pure coincidence.
Yeah, and
so the odds are definitely in his favor on this side.
That's what I really like about Max Rand. Oh, okay.
Well, they're much more in his favor now.
Well, I was going to say, that's the great thing about Max Rando is that, when you do see that early Thunderbird, it's not necessarily the required path. You always have to keep every single path in your mind thinking, well, this might not be the way. It could have actually been the other way that wasn't Thunderbird. But it is behind Thunderbird today, so this is probably going to be GG's for Big Slammer unless something absolutely horrendous happens on his side and he has to forfeit in the last few seconds here.
Yeah, took a quick bop when he was real low, but appropriately retreating into the corner, stabbing away at Dark Link or Dark Wizard's knees.
Dark Dragon Lord.
Yes. Gonna give him a good clonking. Dip it a little bit out of the corner. But he does take him down, and with an official race time of 1:29.41, Big Slamu is our winner.
GG's in chat across the board here. A nice smooth 6-gem clear for this Max Rando seed. Could have been a little bit more confusing, but I guess I'm not really sure how much more confusing it could have been, seeing as it was a very full Vanilla Shuffled West, and we are joined by Big Slammer. Hello, sir. GG. We are not hearing you if you are speaking to us. He's speechless.
he's just speechless at my awesome seed I rolled, right?
I wonder if he's. I don't think Zarnax had actually a voice permission problem in this particular channel the other day, and I wonder if that's going to affect anyone else. Nim and Va reporting in chat that Big Slamoo's mic sucks, so that could be the culprit.
Well, while we're waiting for him, Cynas has been making pretty reasonable work out of these remaining 2 palaces.
Is this better? Maybe?
Hey!
Yes?
Yes.
We can hear you now.
I turned push to talk off. I hope that's okay. Push to talk was not translating to the room, but it was translating to the mic check in Discord, so.
As long as we don't hear overly odd sounds in the background that we have to question you, we should be fine.
No promises. I have a 3-year-old.
Oh, those sounds are okay.
But yeah, I was saying, if I knew I was signing up for that kind of a vanilla shuffled, I don't know if I was in for it. I'm just glad that I saw the Zarnax game, so that I knew that I needed to take those bridge tiles. Otherwise, I would have never gotten that.
That's very true.
We had been saying how that bridge pass through is relatively rare, and that two races in a row, me and Ryan have had that bridge be absolutely mandatory.
And I don't know if it was completely mandatory. I guess I forget where it went. I knew it went somewhere important, but I feel like there was a lot of back and forth in there that I didn't take. But I knew that was one that I found early that I thought was pretty nice.
Yeah, that was going to be Jump Cave that blocked us. Or no, was it Jump Cave to the raft tile? Was
Jump Cave to the raft tile, but there was still what was it? I never went in Fairy Cave. I never went through Fairy Cave, which Fairy Cave would have taken me to.
Fairy Cave led to Vanilla 3.
Vanilla 3. Okay, that's kind of what I thought. I took Parappa Cave once after the fact. That was just west of where we started. And then I never connected through Death Mountain, but Death Mountain I think was the connector that could have replaced Jump Cave.
That's true. I think you could have taken the whole way through Death Mountain, but
yeah,
that would have been rough.
Yeah, I'm glad I took the route I took. Honestly, I felt like I navigated the West pretty well. I mean, it's not like it was hard in terms of you just hit every single spot and hope you find what you need to find. I mean, the West had everything. The East was all but useless minus the trophy.
GG Cynas?
Yeah, we can call it that.
You still participated and you raced until someone finished. It's a GG.
All right, yeah, I'll take that. So, folks that watch me play Trails would know that I'm definitely a neophyte at Z2R. We did okay. Got really. I had some assumptions that I needed to check at the beginning. Like, I checked one of the bridges and just, it didn't go anywhere. So I was like, oh, maybe none of the bridges go anywhere, other than the one that just instantly transports you. So that messed up assumption really led me to do a lot of dungeon diving early that I probably could have put off.
Yeah, that dungeon diving was definitely out of logic, but you lucked out on that for sure. With the keys in the drop pool, that gave you enough keys to kind of push through those palaces, albeit slowly there in the lower levels. Although you guys were getting 500-point P bags and whatnot, so it wasn't too horrible. But you did do some full clearing in P6 and P5 there. But you did find, Slamu did not find this, but you found the magic key in P5, which then just kind of opened up to see, which now brought all palaces into logic at that point, which was pretty interesting. Otherwise, you were digging into dungeons or palaces a little bit sooner than the randomizer wanted you to do that, with Fairy being available on the Eastern continent. It was just simply that the vanilla shuffled maps that, as Slamu had mentioned, is that it's kind of like you have to check everything because there could be a pass through that leads to some obscure corner of these very segmented vanilla maps. So it kind of just comes down to checking everything and seeing where it all leads and making note of where it does go in case it is important and you need to come back later, like Rudo having the reflect spell.
I'm not sure that I ever even entered the town with the reflect spell.
It was Vanilla Palace 1, way up in the northeast corner. The only way there was through the back of Saria.
I'm pretty sure you were up there because Mito is up there as well, I think, correct?
No, it was Rudo and Raru.
Oh.
And the back of Saria.
Yeah, I never made it to either of those two towns on the west. Yeah, I can't. Oh, yeah. So I did eventually find, is it Bagu or Error's house? I can't remember which one it is. I did find those woods and everything, and I eventually found the fairy spell and just never went back. So that's probably what happened to me there. So I would have been searching for at least another, I don't know, 10 to 15 minutes to find the reflect spell. I'm happy I didn't dive Palace 4 at least without the reflect spell. That would have been more embarrassing than the rest of this, but overall it was not a horrible seed at all. It just took me a little while to get into it.
Yeah, I think it was definitely playable in terms of, I mean, we weren't combat blocked out the gates, which was really nice. It was nice to be able to play some Z2 instead of play bash your head up against the wall until you find 3 heart containers. Which I don't know if there were 3 heart containers in the seed. I found one deep diving 6 or 4. 4, I think.
I found
that was
one
it.
at 3, I think, as well.
Oh, okay. So we did at least get to 7. Not that, yeah. Honestly, it didn't really matter. GP was not the worst thing in the world.
Well, thanks for the run. I will continue to add to that loss total, work my way down the Swiss bracket, and see the rest of you later. Thanks for the match, Slamu.
Of course, great match. Good luck to you and the rest.
GG's, Cynas. Good luck to you in future matches.
Yep, thanks comms and hosts and restreamers and trackers. You make it what it is, so thank you.
Yeah, you bet, GG. Just to be fair, here you and Slamu were pretty neck and neck, at least until he took off to the east and started uncovering more of the seeds. So it was you both had up to 3 palaces done at one point, and then it was kind of you got tripped up on a few things, and it happens, especially on a vanilla shuffled continent, and took you a little bit to get over to the east. But other than that, I mean, you were cruising at some point, and especially finding that magic key did open up the palaces to you. Other than P4, of course, need to reflect, but. Yeah, again, if you watch it back, Elendar and I were talking about it a lot, where vanilla shuffled continents can really just throw you for a loop. And for the second or third time here, as Big Slammer pointed out, you got to check like everything. And it does help to have vanilla knowledge that something like Bagu opens up Saria, and, you can get to the other side if you don't have fairy. And it's just, there's kind of a big long checklist when it comes to vanilla shuffled continents, that things that they don't normally come into play all that often, but in a vanilla shuffled continent, they will likely be useful in that particular seed. Just something to keep in mind. I mean, it's, there's a lot when it comes to Z2R, especially. But, obviously, like anything, the more you play it, the more you practice, the more the knowledge gets ingrained in your head, and you can it's just a slow learning process.
Yeah, it was definitely my first vanilla map layout type kind of seed, so that was interesting and cool. And then, yeah, I guess the last thing I would say is, folks who are watching, if it looks fun to you, get into it. I mean, you could. It's just one of those things where you just gotta jump into it, and it is a lot of fun. And I've played in a lot of different randomizer communities, and this one is very welcoming and has a lot of helpful people. So get out there and try it out.
I agree with everything Cynas has said. Are we saying your name correctly? Is it Cynas, or is there like a stress on a different syllable here?
Nope, you nailed it on the first try.
All right, fantastic.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is sometimes avoid that cemetery character for rolling seeds. He usually rolls trolly ones.
That guy, yeah.
Mariah knows my evilness on rolling seeds. But GG to both our runners here. We're going to probably end it there. Our next Swiss round 2 match is tomorrow. It's Patrick versus Trails at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Then the next matches after that looks like it's Dr. J PhD versus Level Engine on Wednesday at 10 p.m. So shout out to our two amazing commentators, Marai and Alendar. Shout out to our runners, Big Slamu and Cynas. And shout out to the ever amazing Cheeseburger Party who makes everyone hungry for cheeseburgers for tracking today. And I was your Restreamer Cemetery. So y'all have a wonderful rest of your evening or day, depending on what time it is.